I mean, I think within 10 years, if I just follow the log regression channel of market cap, or use a Bitcoin version and impute something out of it, I get to 100 trillion by 2034. Now that makes sense because all other assets are 100, 200, 300 trillion. A lot of assets are going on to this. There's going to be a lot of activity. I don't think that's wildly wrong. That kind of suggests we're only 3% there because it's 3 trillion today. That was 2013. Okay, and I said, I'm going to discount myself by 90% because this sounds stupid to call for $1 million Bitcoin when it's 200. So I'm going to say 100 grand. So we hit my original target from 11 years ago.
Bitcoin's journey has been nothing short of remarkable, but according to Raoul and Dan Tapiero, what lies ahead will leave you speechless. Forget past highs and the doubts of skeptics. Bitcoin is on the brink of triggering a financial superstorm that will shake the very foundations of the global economy. Picture this. A $100 trillion market cap by 2034, placing Bitcoin in the same league as gold, real estate, and global equities. This isn't a pipe dream. Institutional adoption is accelerating, governments are starting to align, and blockchain technology is attracting capital at an unprecedented rate. Bitcoin is not just here to compete, it's here to dominate. For those who have overlooked or underestimated its potential, consider this your wake-up call. The world's most revolutionary asset is gearing up for its most explosive growth yet. What happens next will reshape wealth, power, and value for an entire generation. Are you ready to witness the financial storm of the century? Bitcoin isn't just a chapter in financial history. It's the headline, and the story is only just beginning.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago when we had our first Bitcoin chat, it was the summer of 2019. And I said in that chat, I didn't understand why the US was not at the forefront of this, because it would allow us to have a digital dollar via the stablecoin. I mean, stablecoins didn't exist back then, but I thought if you have Bitcoin as your core collateral, you have stablecoins that are largely dollar-based, you have a massive advantage. And the US, it took 5 years, or maybe it's been in development for the last sort of, I think, 2-3 years. People have been saying, wow, this is a great technology. Why aren't we harnessing this? Right? I think that's and now, look, 99% of the stable coins are still dollars.
And don't forget that they're now one of the biggest buyers of treasuries. The other thing that's interesting to me is what you mentioned is, you and I know, because we've all spoken to people, is the finance system's been waiting for the green light. The big Web 2 companies have been waiting for a green light. There's a lot of people who've been waiting for a regulatory green light. Now, we haven't got it yet because we need regulations. But I look at the finance system, and I think one of the things you've been talking about as well is, if they're going to build, there's an obvious choice for them, which is going to be Ethereum. Ethereum has the native yield, and it is the kind of IBM or Microsoft of the space. I think people are underestimating how fast finance is going to come because they've all been working on it. And it's a very likely an Ethereum ecosystem thing overall. Thoughts?
I mean, I've always believed in this sort of multi-chain world that different blockchains can have different use cases. I mean, Bitcoin, no question, is the collateral for the whole space. And we've talked about that, I don't know how many times. The smart contract platform, Solana, Speed, but there are other things like Sui and Sei that are coming up that will find specific use cases, right? So it shouldn't be that meme coins are on the Bitcoin blockchain. Come on. It's fine that it's on Solana and all the activity is there. So I think that the number of use cases is so great. We haven't even seen what I think is, and I've been looking for companies in this area, but what I think is one of the most important use cases, which is the use of the permanent ledger. The fact that whatever is stamped on that blockchain is there forever, can be verified, that truth machine concept. There are still very few companies out there or people that are applying the power of that to business generally. And, so for instance, could there be a blockchain that focuses specifically on that aspect that doesn't exist today? Sure. Are there going to be blockchains that maybe focus more on RWAs? Or will there be one that is more of an NFT-based one? Will there be an art one? Will there be one for property and real estate? Everything can't go on one chain.
From what Scott has said, made clear is, yes, they want the kind of fiscal cleanup, so we're issuing less bonds, so i.e. a lower deficit. But they're not just going to wholesale throw people out into the streets, as you said. They want to create efficiencies and deregulation, which Scott's bet is they've only got one choice here. You either keep compounding the debts at record levels, or you try and generate some GDP growth. And this entire government is all about GDP growth. And Scott said, I want to get the oil price lower and the dollar weaker. I mean, this is like macro heaven. If he can pull this off, this is like perfect situation. Deregulation, lower oil, lower dollar, and lower rates.
Lower dollar for a second. I mean, I'm not sure why we need that.
Bitcoin is not just a currency. It's the foundation of a digital asset era set to redefine the global economy. Back in 2013, Raoul Pal's cautious prediction that Bitcoin could reach $100,000 seemed audacious, especially with its price at just $200. Fast forward, and his target has been exceeded, proving the accuracy of his forward-thinking insight. Now, with Bitcoin's value linked to gold equivalency, where 700 ounces equals over $2 million, Pal's vision highlights the disruptive potential of decentralized currencies. Meanwhile, Dan Tapiero emphasizes the U.S.'s unique appeal for global investment, driven by strong governance, innovation, and productivity growth. He pointed to the explosive rise of blockchain, with active addresses increasing sevenfold in just 2 years, and stablecoins poised to surpass Visa in transaction volume. With 500 million crypto accounts now competing with traditional brokerage accounts, institutional investors are rapidly increasing their adoption. Tapiero predicts a US-led decentralized finance revolution where blockchain and DeFi transform global finance, creating scalability, inclusivity, and unprecedented growth. Let's dive deeper into this fascinating conversation with more clips from the interview.
I think if you tighten fiscally and you rationalize the government, the capital inflow into the U.S. as a result of, corporations, being leaner, the government leading the way in that area, I just think all inflow for investment is going to offset any, why would anyone not want to invest in the U.S. with this team that we have? I'm just saying, okay, with this team that we have, the interest rates could be lower, but no one else in the world is even close to approaching this. There's no activist government out there that has, a proper macro person running treasury. I think eventually another person, at the Fed of that caliber. The people that they're bringing in, if I were in another place, I would want to have my money here. I had been bearish on the dollar for a while, and my view is sort of changing now. I may be wrong. I may be wrong about it. I haven't been a dollar bull in a very, very long time. But I think this is a structural one-off shift up. And no government can compete with the government we have today. And there aren't companies like the ones we have in the US outside. I mean, I see it even in the crypto space. A lot of the volume is outside of the US, 80% of it right now. But not as many, quality companies outside as you would hope, given that they're 80% of the total trading volume. Some people, question this data. We've done a lot of work. We think this is the legit data. 6 million in January of 21, right? Total active addresses across the top blockchains. And it stayed at it was 20 million at the beginning of the year, and it's just spiked up to 164 million. So we're up, almost 7x this year. We're up, 3x in the last 2 months. These are massive, massive numbers. So when I think about, adoption, it's not just people owning a Bitcoin. It's how widespread is the use and interaction with the top, 5, 10 blockchains. And so this chart encompasses all on-chain blockchains, including swaps, purchases, airdrops, NFT, signing transactions, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's everything. It's how much activity is moving into the digital asset sphere. Well, 500 million accounts, that's a lot. I think the ETFs, you have a nice chart on the the Bitcoin supply back in ETFs. That's gone up. And now all of a sudden you have L2s. You have total Bitcoin L2 volume. That is up 10x this year. And so if I look out over the next 2 years, the thing that I think could really take off is US-based DeFi.
Yeah.
So, DeFi 2 years ago basically got pushed outside of the US. And so the first step for everybody is, through a centralized exchange, they come on their Kraken or Gemini or whatever Coinbase, they buy their Bitcoin. But now, especially Coinbase, Kraken too, now they've made it easy to port over into DeFi. Not everyone is going to buy a Ledger and go in through Ledger Live or have MetaMask. But I do think that once these institutional guys, they're going to own their Bitcoin through the ETF or whatever, they're going to own their Ethereum, they're then going to start to understand as they watch it, as they focus on it, that it's really the decentralized financial world that has the ability to grow. I mean, TVL, total value locked in DeFi, is, I think, around $100 billion, which is very small. The total value in the space today, if I add up all the cryptocurrency and all the equities, around $4 trillion. So of that $4 trillion sitting there, only really 2% of it is actually active in DeFi. And I think that's gonna change.
Bitcoin's recent surge to an unprecedented $116,000 marks a pivotal moment in the financial world. Raoul Pal and Dan Tapiero highlight this milestone as evidence of the rapid adoption of digital assets and the transformative power of blockchain technology. Tapiero points to a 7-fold increase in active blockchain addresses over just 2 years, signaling a significant shift toward decentralized finance. Pal emphasizes institutional adoption, noting that global crypto accounts, now at 500 million, are rivaling traditional brokerage accounts, further fueling the momentum. Adding to this growth, reports suggest the potential establishment of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve under President-elect Donald Trump, further legitimizing digital assets as a cornerstone of modern finance. Tapiero believes the U.S. is poised to lead the decentralized finance revolution, driven by its innovative companies and strong governance, cementing its role as a trailblazer in the blockchain era. Bitcoin's meteoric rise underscores a broader shift in global financial preferences, as traditional fiat currencies like the euro and yen face struggles amid geopolitical and economic uncertainty. Digital assets are increasingly seen as a compelling alternative. Pal and Tapiero both predict a flippening of the financial system, where blockchain innovations will challenge and eventually surpass traditional financial structures like Visa in transaction volume. This moment represents a convergence of technological innovation, institutional acceptance, and geopolitical shifts, positioning blockchain and digital assets as key drivers of a more decentralized, efficient, and inclusive global economy. As adoption accelerates, the financial landscape will likely be reshaped, fulfilling the potential both speakers have long anticipated. As we conclude, the question remains: can Bitcoin integrate into the financial mainstream to rival traditional asset classes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.